Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are all doing well. We are back from America now, and I'm still in a hotel room in London. I'm down here for the PokerStars UKIPT London event, and I've made day 2 of that. But we're not here to talk about poker. We're here to talk about football and Manchester United. And Florian Plettenberg has reported in the last hour that Manchester United will sign Mazraoui and Ligt in this month. He's saying it's definitely happening, it's on, and if it all goes to plan, a double transfer will be completed. Positive and ongoing negotiations between the clubs are underway, but Mazraoui's move could be dependent upon Aaron Wan-Bissaka leaving Manchester United, and we kind of heard his move to West Ham has stalled, as has Scott McTominay's move to Fulham. That one's kind of stalled as well. So you're kind of waiting for this knock-on effect, this domino effect of one transfer to happen to kind of allow the rest of these moves to happen. And we've also got a latest update on Manuel Ugarte after it seemed like Manchester United had pulled out of the race to sign him. So we'll be getting stuck into all of that. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button, you're liking, you're commenting, you're sharing. Tomorrow, it's Charity Shield Day or Community Shield, whatever you want to call it, at Wembley between Manchester United and Manchester City. I forgot to apply for tickets. Genuinely. As a season ticket holder, you've got to apply for tickets when it's cup finals and community shields and things like that. And I didn't realise the date had passed, and I had forgot to get in there. Now, in my case, I've made day 2 of a tournament where it's likely to be going on while the Charity Shield is on. But I'm in London. If I get knocked out of that tournament by 1 PM, I'm going to be trying to get a ticket and heading down to Wembley. But yes, this is the latest news regarding Manchester United. We're going to get stuck into it. As I said, hit that subscribe button, like, comment, share, all that good stuff. Had loads of reaction to me being on the overlap with Paul Scholes. Paul Scholes, absolute legend. And I've still got to pinch myself, you know. When I get to do these things and when I get to sit there and talk with people that I consider my heroes, my legends. Well, not just my legends, the club legends. Like, Paul Scholes is a man that I remember a commentary on, I think it was the United 95 to 96 season review. Shout out to people that have got that one. It's about the double. And there was a bit of commentary about the kids. And it went, Beckham, Giggs and Scholes. The kids are United. And that's something that's just always lived in my head. And Beckham, Giggs and Scholes, absolute icons. Paul Scholes, one of the greatest players to ever lace up the boots. Not only for Manchester United, in England, in Europe. Yeah. And I got to sit there and have a chat with him. Alright, he's a little bit more negative. But he's someone that, you know, it comes from a good place with Paul Scholes. And I also get it. You can be a little bit fatigued by everything with Manchester United. You know, there's been so many years where we've gone, this is the year, this is the year, this is the year, these are the signings, these are the signings. You kind of want to sit back and just wait and see what happens. But, as you know, as everyone knows, I've been saying 21 is coming every single year for the last, since we won the league last. And I'm a little bit of an optimist when it comes to the summer. I also was out there on pre-season, got to see the likes of Ashworth, Barada, Wilcox, etc. working closely with Eric Ten Hag, and it does feel like there's a collaborative effort going on at the club at the moment, and that we're in safe hands. So even if we don't get things right immediately in the league, you think eventually these good decisions that these guys are making will eventually down the road have a domino effect again and lead to Manchester United being more successful and showcasing better things on the football pitch. Eventually that will happen. How long will it take to happen? Obviously, we've seen business already for Joshua Zirkzee, who's travelled with a squad to the Community Shield game. We've seen business for Lenny Yoro, who's unfortunately injured for a while. And now we could be seeing these deals for Mazraoui and Ligt being completed this month. I'd like to see them completed before that game against Fulham. All right, maybe they wouldn't play in that game against Fulham. But even if they're in the squad, on the bench, around the team for that game against Fulham, you'd be feeling a little bit more confident because you want to get them in as soon as possible. And when we got those few signings in early, you thought, here we go. But unfortunately, and it makes sense, United kind of have to cut their cloth accordingly. We have to make sure we're getting those deals out in order to bring players in. And eventually, this will mean in a couple of years' time, we'll be able to do business much freer. One of the things that the Glazers did was they were just splashing the cash, emergency basis. We saw how much they spent badly. They've spent money at times. And it usually came after a bad result, a knee-jerk result. And what they weren't thinking about was how that would have a knock-on effect on us in the coming summers and the coming transfer windows. So it's good to see someone, even if it's a bit annoying for us fans when these deals don't happen as quickly as we want, it's good to see someone thinking about the future and not just the immediate term. Florian Plettenberg reported, clear tendency at this stage, Mazraoui and Matthijs de Ligt will join Manchester United in August. If all goes to plan, a double transfer will be completed. Positive and ongoing negotiations between the clubs are underway. Manchester United and Erik ten Hag are pushing for both players. Bayern are willing to sell. No deals are done yet, but progress is being made. And we have heard previously from reliable sources that Manchester United had agreed terms with their agents and stuff in terms of their personal terms. So that shouldn't be a big deal in terms of getting the deal done for them. It's just that fee with Bayern Munich and maybe waiting for a few more things to happen. Like we hear that a deal for Bayern Munich right back Mazraoui is contingent on the intended sales of Aaron Wan-Bissaka to West Ham, and Wan-Bissaka's representatives remain in talks about his personal terms. We've also heard news about Man United possibly bringing in Sander Berge as well in a deal worth around £25 million, including add-ons. Look, if we can't go and get Manuel Ugart, who we've got an update on later in this video, if we can't get him, we need to be looking at options, other options. Now, Sander Berge, someone has been relegated a few times, and you kind of think, oh, is he the player? But he is a neat and tidy player. And Man United have long just bought players for the name and everything. Buy players for the role they do. And this does feel like a player that's been signed because of maybe his underlying stats and what he can do in that role. I also remember his performance against some of the bigger boys. I think Arsenal's one that sticks to mind. And he had a pretty decent performance against them. So he's not a bad player. All right, not the signing we'd all want to make. But it's good to see that we have got other options there available if required. We also heard again from Florian Plettenberg that Manchester United and Paris Saint-Germain are still in negotiations to find an agreement of a permanent deal with Manuel Ugart. The player wants to join. The problem is they're asking silly money, and Man United don't want to pay silly money for a player that they want to get rid of. So again, we're negotiating, and this is important that we do that, and we don't just go, here's that 70 million we want, like with Jared Brantwaite, and then set up, you know, a kind of reputation that we can't handle and we don't want to handle. And we're still kind of dealing with our past reputation, because players, clubs are expecting us to just, here's that money you want, yeah, sorted. You know, and Manchester United aren't doing that. We're trying to play a little bit of hardball. So it's all good at the moment in terms of those negotiations, but we do need to speed things up a little bit. Hopefully a few outgoings will ease the way. And Wan-Bissaka, Scott McTominay is another one that's been talked about leaving Manchester United as well. Fulham have gone a little bit quiet on there, but again, I'm sure that's just, you know, to make sure that they can get the right deal for their club. But Man United should be getting at least 25-30 million for Scott McTominay. I don't rate him as a Man United player or someone that should start for Manchester United week in, week out. But he is a very good Premier League player who scores goals, and we've seen what he's done on international duty for Scotland as well. So the kind of fee we're asking for, I think, is reasonable. We just got to make it happen. So that's the latest for Manchester United. We're trying to get those deals done. We also need to get that midfielder in. Will it be Ugart? Will it be Sander Berge? There is talk, though, that we will make 3 signings between now and the closing of the window. Hopefully they come in this month and not too late in the window. And if that is shaped like Mazraoui and Matthijs de Ligt, in addition to Lenny Yoro and, of course, Joshua Zirkzee as well, and then you bring in that midfielder, I think it would have been a decent summer. Obviously, there's still positions that we're worried about, left back, right wing, etc. But Amad Diallo at right wing, someone that I think come through and do quite well. It's just what's going to happen with Sancho. Anthony's been giving it the big talk, but I can't lie, I just don't think it's ever going to happen for him at Manchester United. I'd love for him to surprise me and prove me wrong. It just doesn't feel like that's going to be the case. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Would you be happy with that window if it happened? Zirkzee, Yoro, de Ligt, Mazraoui, and one of those midfielders. Would you be happy? How would you rate that? Get your thoughts in the comments below. Like, comment, share. I'll see you in a bit.